I am staring at a cap table that makes no sense. 3 months ago, I owned 33% of the company I founded. The company that was my idea, built from scratch after I single-handedly revived my family's failing business and used those funds as seed money. Now, according to this document I was not invited to sign, I own 5%. My two brothers, Marcus and Eric, each own 33%. I am holding my phone so tight my hand is shaking, and I can hear my older brother Marcus in the conference room next door laughing with investors. Investors I have never met. For a funding round I did not know was happening. I have exactly 10 seconds to decide. Walk in there and confront them, or stay silent and plan something better. I take a breath, close the document, and walk out of the office. But I am not leaving. I am going to teach them the greatest lesson of their life. You won't believe what I did next. My name is Sophia Bennett, and I am 32 years old. 3 years ago, my family's printing business was bleeding $200,000 a year and heading toward bankruptcy. My parents were in denial. My brothers Marcus and Eric were nowhere to be found, doing their own thing while the family legacy crumbled. I was working at a tech firm, but I could not watch it die. So I stepped in. I completely digitized operations, secured new contracts, worked 18-hour days for a year and a half. I turned that failing business profitable, $300,000 in profit. That money became seed funding for my idea. Dataflow, a revolutionary data management platform for mid-sized companies. The concept was mine. The business plan was mine. The initial prototype was mine. But I made a mistake. I brought my brothers in as co-founders. Marcus has an MBA and talks a good game. Eric has a sales background and knows how to work a room. I thought we would build something together. 33% equity each. Fair split. Except I built everything. I handled product development, engineering, operations, every line of code, every client implementation, every late night fixing bugs. My brothers handled business development, which mostly meant schmoozing at investor dinners and taking credit in meetings. For 2 years, I watched them position themselves as the leaders while I did the actual work. Investors loved the story of founding siblings, but in presentations, I was increasingly pushed to the side. Investors relate better to male CEOs, Marcus told me. It is just optics, Soph. You know we value you. My parents made it worse. Sunday dinners became strategy sessions I was not invited to. My mother told me I was doing too much, that I should let my brothers lead because it is natural for men to be the pillars of family business. My father said Marcus had the executive presence investors wanted. When I pushed back and reminded them I created the company, he said my brothers were building the business and that is how it works. I realized too late my own family was actively undermining me. Then came the funding round I never knew about. Marcus and Eric started taking investor meetings without me. Just preliminary conversations, they said. We will loop you in when it is real. I trusted them because they are my brothers. That was my mistake. The CFO they hired accidentally sent me the new cap table. Series A funding. $5 million raised. My ownership diluted from 33% to 5%. My brothers protected at 33 each. I never consented. Never signed. Never even knew it was happening. When I confronted Marcus, he was calm, almost smug. The board felt ownership needed adjustment. I exploded. What board? I am a co-founder. I built this entire product. Eric joined in, said investors want stability and strong hands. I was technical. They were strategic. There is a difference, he said. I told them this was illegal. Eric told me to check my shareholder agreement. Buried in page 47 was a clause allowing majority shareholders to approve funding rounds. They tricked me into signing it during formation. They knew from the beginning they would do this. I went to my parents expecting support. My father said I needed to be realistic, that Marcus and Eric raised capital and that is leadership. My mother called me dramatic and said 5% was generous. When I said I had 33% and they stole it, my father said now my brothers could grow the company without me micromanaging. Then I realized. My parents advised them on this. They knew. They helped. My mother actually said men are better suited for executive roles, and that is just reality. I looked at my family and said very calmly, "We will see about that." I hired the best startup attorney in the city and sued them for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, and shareholder oppression. During discovery, we found emails going back 6 months. Subject line: Removing the girl problem. My brothers called me the girl problem. They plotted with investors who did not want a female CEO. My father's voice was on recorded calls telling them to take control before I ruined everything. The betrayal was not just business. It was orchestrated by my own family because I am a woman. But here is what none of them knew. While they were scheming, I was building. I had been secretly developing Dataflow 2.0 on my own time with my own money, a superior version. Faster, cheaper, better. I filed my own patents. I incorporated my own company. And I pre-signed contracts with 10 major clients, including their 5 biggest customers who were tired of dealing with my incompetent brothers. The trial ended with me winning $12 million in damages. That same day, I launched my product. My brothers had no idea what hit them. The day the trial ended, I did not celebrate. I launched. Flowtech Solutions went live 48 hours after the verdict. Flowtech Pro was everything Dataflow should have been. 40% faster, 50% cheaper, cleaner interface. The tech press showed up because they smelled blood. Ousted founder launches competitor after winning discrimination lawsuit. I announced the pre-signed contracts. 10 major clients including 5 of Dataflow's biggest accounts. $8 million in annual recurring revenue switching to me on day 1. My brother's company was bleeding out in real time. Within 24 hours, those clients publicly announced they were leaving. Marcus and Eric went into panic mode, calling every remaining client, promising improvements they could not deliver. One CEO told them, "We have been asking for these features for months. Sophia delivered in weeks." That quote made TechCrunch. Their emergency board meeting was a bloodbath. Investors were furious. "You told us you built this product. Sophia built it." Marcus tried to say they could rebuild. The lead investor shut him down. "With what money? Your biggest clients just left and you owe Sophia $12 million. Dataflow's valuation collapsed from $20 million to $3 million in 1 week. Meanwhile, Flowtech was dominating. Month 1, 15 new clients. Month 2, $5 million in annual recurring revenue. Forbes featured me, how she built it twice and better. New investors came knocking. I accepted $20 million at $100 million valuation. This time I controlled every term. By month 3, Dataflow was insolvent. Employees jumped ship. I hired the good ones. Marcus filed bankruptcy. Eric followed. Both lost everything. Dataflow got acquired for $500,000. The buyer only wanted the client list. "The product is worthless," they told the press. Then Dataflow's investors sued my brothers for fraud, inflated metrics, fake testimonials, hidden churn rates. Marcus and Eric had been lying to everyone. 6 months after I launched Flowtech, they were both bankrupt, unemployed, and facing fraud lawsuits. I was profitable, thriving, and being called Tech Founder of the Year. My parents showed up wanting to reconcile. My mother said they were proud. I looked at her without blinking. "Are you? Because you told me men should be the pillars." My father tried to say they made mistakes. I asked if he meant advising my brothers how to steal from me. Then he said the quiet part out loud. "My brothers needed help. Family helps family." I laughed. Where was family when they diluted me to 5%? My father could not answer. I told them my brothers could rebuild without me. They chose their side. My parents left angry. I felt relieved. 3 months later, both brothers filed complete bankruptcy. Marcus ended up in a mid-level job. Eric went back to sales, reputation destroyed. They sent letters through attorneys. Wrong. Manipulated. No forgiveness expected. Just acknowledgement I was the talent. I filed those letters and never responded. Meanwhile, Flowtech hit $12 million in revenue. I was speaking at conferences, building something they could never touch. 1 year after launching Flowtech, I spoke at the biggest tech summit in the country. I told the full story. Then I played excerpts from my father's recorded calls. The audience heard his voice telling Marcus and Eric that I was too emotional for leadership, that investors want male CEOs, that they needed to protect their inheritance by protecting their equity. Then I said, gender discrimination is not always loud. Sometimes it is a father whispering to his sons that their sister is a liability because investors prefer men. The standing ovation lasted 3 minutes. The video got 5 million views. My father showed up the next day, furious that I aired private conversations. I told him he had no right to orchestrate stealing my company. My mother said he was trying to help everyone. I asked where his help was when I was being pushed out. Then I gave them an ultimatum. Admit publicly you favored my brothers. Acknowledge your role. My father refused, said it would destroy their reputation. I told him their reputation was already destroyed. This was their chance for honesty. They refused and stormed out. I felt nothing but peace. 2 years after Flowtech launched, we hit our IPO, $800 million valuation. My stake worth over $600 million. Forbes put me on their 30 under 40 list. I started the Competence Fund supporting female founders in tech. Fund what they build, not what they look like. We helped 50 women launch companies in the first year. 3 years later, I received an email from a young woman. My story gave her courage to leave her co-founder who was pushing her aside. She was launching her own company. I responded immediately. Build it better. Launch it smarter, prove them all wrong. That is the only revenge worth having. 5 years later, Forbes did a cover story. Sophia, the founder who built it twice. Flowtech had been acquired for $2 billion. My payout was $1.5 billion. I used the wealth to expand my foundation globally. My brothers were mentioned as a footnote, the co-founders who pushed out the actual founder and paid the ultimate price. My closing quote said it all. They thought being men made them better suited to lead. I proved that being competent is the only qualification that matters. Gender is irrelevant. Execution is everything. The girl problem became the market solution. Thanks for listening to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about people who turned betrayal into empires. Let me know in the comments. Would you have forgiven your family or built your own success without them? I will see you in the next one.